Hey guys, welcome on into Drinks with Binks. I'm Julie Stewart-Binks. This is our happy hour edition, Super Bowl week, and Super Bowl is coming up. We are very excited to be able to welcome in head coach of the NFL's Washington Commanders, Ron Rivera. Ron, cheers. Congratulations on everything that you have accomplished on and off the field. Thanks for joining us today.
Cool. Cheers to you. Well, Julie, good to be here. An opportunity to talk a little bit about our new name as we become the Commanders, and pretty excited about it. It's an opportunity for us to step forward and go kind of a new direction. So it's a new chapter in who we are as the Washington Commanders.
Definitely. And I mean, do you and sort of the players sort of understand like the gravity and in the moment of like a cultural change within sports, that you're a part of a name change, but also a cultural change in history?
I think so, because it's one of the things that we did talk about when we first got here as a coaching staff and as an organization, that, we want to change the culture. We want to become a winning culture. We want it to be sustainable, that something we can, really fall back to anytime we get into some tough situations. So I think the players have a good grasp of what we intend to do and how important it is with this new name change.
I got to ask you about your drink. You've got some root beer there that you're sipping on. Tell me about why you chose that.
Well, Julie, the big reason is because when I was going through my cancer treatments over a year ago, root beer and Mountain Dew, for that matter, were the two drinks that tasted like themselves. When I drank water, it tasted like seawater. When I drank, other sodas and juices, it had an aluminum metallic taste to it. But lo and behold, one day, I chugged a root beer, and all of a sudden I realized I could taste the root beer. And then the same thing was true with Mountain Dew. So those are the two drinks that I've kind of become accustomed to now.
Well, it's a good memory to have, and congratulations, for everything that you've had to endure and to go through off the field, but then on the field as well. That you guys have, you've managed to tick a lot of boxes in a short amount of time and inspire a lot of people. And, before we get into some more NFL stuff, I have to ask you, I wanted to ask you right off the bat, because I know you have some curling experience.
When we were in Carolina, there's a curling club in Charlotte. And so when the Olympics had just passed, the previous ones, my family, we went out and tried it. So myself, my family, we go down there, and I'm going to tell you right now, curling is not as easy as people think it is. Because it requires a lot of different muscle groups. I mean, if you're doing the brushing with the brooms, you have to really be able to keep your balance, keep shuffling your legs in a bent position. So it takes a lot of taxing on your thighs, your inner groin, your lower back, your shoulders, because you're brushing, you're doing it as quick as you can. And then to have touch and feel to toss the stone down the ice, or I should say, shove the stone down the ice as you need to. That's hard. It really is. I'm telling you, it is a lot more of a sport than people think.
I love that. Just getting that your in-depth analysis on curling, and John Schuster, I'm sure, would be happy to know that you are a fan of throwing the rocks. Now, just very quickly before we move on, though, I know that you've watched the U.S. women's national team in soccer, but we have the U.S. women in hockey. What's something NFL players could take from what we see these women doing on the national stage for their sport and for their country?
I think one of the things is really the passion in which they do things. I mean, I really do. I think it's a tremendous thing to take, athletes and put them in the situation they are where they're really doing it for the love of the game, for the love of their country. I think that's really cool. I really do. And, the passion, the excitement, the joy, that's a big part of it. And I think sometimes it's missing in our league, because it almost becomes like it's work. And when that happens, that's when you got to really get your team refocused.
Now, speaking of women, I know that, you have, of course, with Washington, hired Jennifer King, that you knew back from Carolina. She's the first Black woman to hold a full-time position as a coach in the NFL. From back when you knew her then, she coached in the East-West Shrine Game just recently. What caught your eye about her as a coach, and what does she bring to the room?
Well, probably the first thing that I really caught my attention was really how passionate she was about the game, how much she loved the game. But she also knew the game because she had played it, and she played at the highest level she could as a woman athlete. And she told me she wanted to take it to on the field as a coach. She coached women's collegiate basketball, and she won a title in the division that she was in, NAIA. And so I know she understands what it takes to coach. But as we sat there and we talked, we met at the Women in Football Symposium one year and had an opportunity to really listen to her talk about football. So I knew she was passionate. I knew she was knowledgeable. All she needed was a chance. So I offered a couple opportunities to come in and be part of our coaching staff and the Bill Walsh Minority Internship Program. She took those. Then she got a job working collegiately. And then she also worked in the spring leagues. So I knew she was doing the things she needed to. And when I got the opportunity in Washington, I brought her along to give her that chance. And she's proven it every step of the way that she deserves to be in it. What she brings to the table, a couple of things. One is obviously is her practical experience as a player, some of her insights and background as a coach. But also, she also has this way about her. And I think women do that in general when they're near a group of men, is kind of bring everything down slow, to a better temperament. And I think that creates a positive learning environment. So I really do appreciate the way she coaches her players. And I love the fact that she's always prepared to coach them.
Well, that's great to hear. And she is such a role model for so many other women who are looking to get involved in the game, and especially at that level. Now, for you, from your experience, and we've seen a lot of discussion about the need for more diversity within the NFL. We see, of course, Brian Flores and his lawsuit against the NFL and Roger Goodell addressing it the other day. From your experience, and we heard you discuss having gone through so many years of the interview process before becoming a head coach, before being in Carolina. In what way, when you hear Brian Flores' story and see everything that's going on, have you been sort of like influenced or had that influence or seen that as a part of your journey?
It was a part of my journey, way back when, and I think it was sometime around 2005, 2006, when I was at the Combine. The NFL, when Paul Tagliabue was still the commissioner, he wanted to do something where he would bring some of the minority coaches in, and he had some of the owners, some of the head coaches, some of the GMs in there as well. And it was an opportunity for us to kind of talk and listen, and they could listen to us. And I thought that was a really cool experience. And what I learned from that, really more so than anything else, was that you've got to get to know the people that are going to do the hiring. You've got to get to know the general managers. You've got to get to know the presidents. You've got to get to know the owners. And I always wondered, is that one of the things that is missing? Do we have to create opportunities where the minority coaches can get in front of the owners, can get in front of the presidents, can get in front of the GMs, and kind of develop relationships so that when opportunities come, they can be thought of and brought in and really talked to on a level where there's some familiarity as to who they are and what they're capable of. I just think we need to create those types of situations for them.
Definitely. And it's certainly a discussion that we're all having. So hopefully, just based on the fact that there's more attention on it, more need for change, that change will come from everyone and not just looking to people who have experienced it to have to do it themselves. Now, we know that you have to get going. So before you go, I know you've had some Gatorade baths in your past with some orange Gatorade. If you had to pick, what do you think? What color Gatorade do you think will be poured on the winning head coach come Super Bowl Sunday?
Well, it's going to be funny, but if you think about it, with the Rams, it should be the yellow, and with the Bengals, it should be the orange. So we'll see what happens.
Do you think they do that per team, like the color sort of that would relate to them?
I think they would. If they think about it, they would.
Okay, some insight from someone who knows best. Okay, well, thank you so much, Ron Rivera, head coach of the NFL's Washington Commanders. We really appreciate you being on the show, and cheers. Congratulations to everything you've accomplished.
Cheers to you.